Congratulations are pouring in for Brazil's re-elected head of state. Chinese President Xi Jinping recalled his July visit to Brazil and praised Dilma Rousseff for her leadership, saying under her guidance, the Brazilian people will keep making new, greater achievements in building their country. He also pledged to further promote relations between China and the South American nation. And for more on the aftermath from Brazil's elections, we're joined by Juan Carlos Hidalgo. He's a policy analyst on Latin America at the CATO Institute's Center for Global Liberty and Prosperity. Welcome back to the show.
Good evening.
As you saw in our story from Brazil, this country is pretty much split in half after this election. So how does President Rousseff get the country united? How does she bring them back together?
It's going to be a very difficult task, particularly because her campaign was very negative, very acrimonious towards Aécio Neves. She accused Aécio Neves of trying to strip poor Brazilians of the popular social programs that have been created during the governments of the Workers' Party. She accused Aécio Neves of representing the past. Let's remember that Aécio Neves comes from the same party of former President Fernando Henrique Cardoso that was responsible for the economic reforms of the 1990s that stabilized Brazil's economy, but also brought some pain to the pockets of many Brazilians because they involve austerity and tough measures. So she had a very acrimonious tone towards the opposition candidate. Now her speech was more conciliatory, but she's going to have a hard time convincing almost the 50% of Brazilians that voted for Neves that she is going to be a president for all Brazilians and not just for the people that voted for her.
Well, and she has to get that business community back on her side. The economy has been a major issue there in Brazil. The Brazilian stock exchange went down after the results came out that she won. What does she have to do to get the economy there back on track?
Yeah, well, the first thing she already promised that she was going to do was replacing her finance minister, Guido Mantega. He is widely blamed for being the main responsible for Brazil's lackluster performance economically. But tough measures need to be taken. Public spending has to be controlled. I mean, public spending in Brazil is almost 40% of GDP, which is quite high for a country in the developing stages of Brazil. And once you control spending, then you can control inflation, then you can lower taxes. Brazil has one of the most onerous tax regimes in the world. You also have to tackle regulations. Opening a business in Brazil is very cumbersome. It takes 117 days, according to the World Bank, to open a business. So overall, you need to make Brazil more market-friendly. However, President Rousseff presented herself during this campaign as the anti-market and the pro-welfare state candidate. So it's going to be quite a U-turn for her to move forward with these reforms while she presented herself as the opposite during the campaign.
And how long will that take?
Well, we'll see in the upcoming months, in the upcoming weeks or days, what's going to be her economic team, who are going to be the people in charge of her policies. She also has to send clear signals that she means what she said last night on economic reform. But we also have to look at her governing coalition. Let's remember that Brazil's politics is very fractious. You have many parties, and in order to please everybody, you have to give them jobs, you have to give them posts in ministries and so on. And that makes passing policy so difficult.
Rousseff also said she wants to be a better president than she's ever been until now. Do you think we'll see any other policy changes? Let's look outside the economy. Any major changes in regards to relationships with other countries, or pretty much the same?
I don't expect major changes when it comes to foreign policy. Many people claim that during the PT governments, during the Workers' Party governments, Brazil has underperformed diplomatically as much as when it comes to the human rights agenda and the pro-democracy agenda in Latin America. Brazil has played the role of lieutenant to Venezuela, for example, instead of playing a larger role of leadership. I don't see that happening. I don't see that changing. As for Rousseff's second term and being a better president, she has a major problem, which is corruption scandals. They keep coming up. They keep mushrooming all over the place. And I think that this is what we have seen so far is just the tip of the iceberg. So that can present a serious role for her for a second term, being tainted from the beginning by corruption.
All right, Juan Carlos Hidalgo, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.